Boomer coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. A really brutal, disappointing loss for the Yankees in Game 1 in this wild card series against the Boston Red Sox. And I know already how this is going to go. I've been listening to this radio station my entire life. I've been working here for a very long time. The radio station was built off of conversation about games like this. Leave Max Fried in. Pinch hit this guy here. This guy stinks. You couldn't get offense out of this particular guy. I mean, I know it, and it all just came to a head. Fire the manager. The manager doesn't know what he's doing. This had all the ingredients for the Yankee fan to lose their mind last night and lose their mind this morning when they wake up and rehash all of it. Quite frankly, I don't put the blame on Aaron Boone in this loss. That's just me. We'll talk through it. But once again, a great pitcher in the postseason silences the Yankees offense. And then when you have an opportunity, when the guy's out of the game, you got bases loaded, nobody out, and you can't do anything with it. How many times have we seen this from the offense? Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, well, good morning, G. And I would just say to Aaron Boone, just go back and look at the 90s and take a look at what Joe Torre did in situations like this. You know what he did? He sat there. He didn't do anything. He just sat there, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited until his starter was exhausted, and then he would go to Mariano. And that was it. I mean, I knew exactly. I'm telling you, I knew exactly what was going to happen the moment they took him out of the game. The moment they took Max Fried out of this game was the moment that this whole thing changed. Now, yeah, in the ninth inning, they had an opportunity, and it was, bases loaded, nobody out. And of course, Jazz Chisholm comes up, the guy who's guaranteed that they're going to win the World Series, by the way, and can't get out. I will say that, these are the games, these are the moments that you live for. These are the discussion points that come every year when a team around here makes it to the playoffs. And a lot of it comes down to managerial decisions. A lot of it comes down to, analytics. Who's in the lineup, who's not in the lineup, who's got the better, average against the pitcher, so on and so forth. And we saw it all play out for the Yankees yesterday against the Yankees yesterday. So today is going to be a bloodletting, but they have another game that they have to play. That's the beauty of these 3-game series. They are quick, they are fast, they're in your face, and before you even get the words out about yesterday's game, you got to turn around and you got to try to figure out a way to win today's game. So Max Fried was brilliant yesterday. Would I have left him in? 100% I would have left him in. I mean, he got the out, he had the one out. I know that it seemed like, and I'm sure from the dugout, that he was over 100 pitches, that he may have been laboring a little bit, but you know what? And by the way, when he did get pulled from the game, 47,000 fans cheered.
Yeah,
they all cheered for him and the effort that he had given.
Well, I mean, you're going to do that. What are you going to do? Boo Aaron Boone for taking him out at that spot? I think that they were nervous, but they were encouraged by the fact that they were still winning the game, and they were excited, and they wanted to make sure that the energy stayed up. But I mean, these conversations have happened for so long now, and you can't, to me, say what would Joe Torre would have done, because the game has changed so dramatically. I mean, think about how much the NFL has changed and what you can do and what you can't do from when you played. And in baseball, it's almost the same. I mean, it really is. It's a different game.
Except one big difference here, and that is between the two managers and the decisions that they made. Now, this all could have blown up in the Red Sox face, too. It had Aroldis Chapman didn't wiggle out of the bases loaded situation.
Right.
And it reminded me of the Mets in so many ways in the ninth inning, because, singles were not leading to runs. They were just going base to base to base. And it seemed like the Mets for a long time during the summer and during September would get a hit, and there would be a guy on second base and he couldn't come home for whatever reason. Either he misread the ball, or the ball wasn't hit hard enough, or the ball was hit too hard. And they just couldn't score the runs that they needed to tie the game. So I'm not a Yankee fan, but I was perturbed. I was a little bit annoyed. You know why? Because you have an ace for a reason. And that ace is supposed to be able to get you through the tough times and get you through, at least, you'd like to think, to your closer. Or what to take him out in the middle of an inning. I hate that, especially when he gets the out and there's nobody on base.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that was confusing to me at that juncture. But here's another thing that we need
one
to.
Thing if he's in trouble, but he wasn't.
But here's the other thing too. He was in trouble a lot of the game. There was a lot of time. I mean, they had base runners on. What, 4 out of the 5 innings he was out?
But,
4 or 5 innings that he was out there.
But an ace gets out of it, and of course, you know, they were talking about the amount of pitches that Crochet was throwing and the amount of foul balls and the average amount of pitches per batter, which the Yankees were doing a great job with. Obviously they were trying to make him work, and hopefully they were thinking that Joey Cora was going to take him out of the game.
Alex Cora
Cora take him out of the game, and he never did.
Yeah.
So. I mean, again, because of the way the game ended, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say the 9th inning for the Yankees was an offensive disaster, especially those 3 guys that could not get runners across. And the second thing would be that Alex Cora left his starter in and Aaron Boone didn't. That's really the difference in this game.
Well, also, I mean, it is, but I know how great Garrett Crochet was. I mean, but this is just the same old story with this offense that's so dominant in the regular season, then runs into a good pitcher, whether it's on the road or at home, and they can't do anything against them. I mean, this is power against power, and they always lose. I mean, that is a major factor. Another thing about Aaron Boone's decision-making, and yes, there were other decisions that you could question, leaving Wells in, not pinch-hitting Rice for him and others, and then turning the lineup over where Jazz Chisholm had to come in, and his turn in the order came up when you probably didn't want that for defensive purposes. He comes in. But here is one thing that needs to be, and this is when I'm getting hammered with text messages last night. Well, this is going on. What do you think about? Boone sucks. This is an organizational philosophy. This is what they want, and they have planned for from the top. And Aaron Boone is just the last line of that. And then when they go, how much we know this, but how much discussion goes into when this happens, when he gets here, this happens, when we have that. And even they said it in the Yes postgame show. It was Michael Kay or somebody said it felt like a blueprint. Because it is.
It is the blueprint.
That is the blueprint.
I know, but sooner or later, you have to
have a feel.
You got to have a feel for the game.
But they don't. How many times we talked about it?
I
They
know,
never
but
have a feel.
You can't have a robot sit I love the way Joe Torre just sat there, and he had Don Zimmer next to him, and they just sat there. I don't know what they were talking about, but whatever they were talking about, I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Everything good? Everything's great. Let's get to Mariano, and we'll call it a day." But I understand. I understand. It's not even an argument. I understand your point of view in regard to what happened yesterday. But I am in this case as somebody who's played, somebody who's been around, somebody who wants. You get the feel of the game. From a head coach to a quarterback. Is a quarterback on today? Is he not on today? You can tell. You can look into their eyes. You can see what they're doing, whether or not they can handle the situation and the pressure. Max Fried was brought here for this moment.
Right.
It's like Garrett Cole was brought here for this moment. These guys are brought here and paid this money for these moments. And for the most part, Max Fried gave you an aces performance. Even when he was in trouble, he got out of it. That's what aces do. That's what they're supposed to do. And they asked him after the game whether or not he had any left in the tank. Now, if he would have said, hey, I was shot, and I knew I was coming out, that's one thing. But he didn't say that.
He didn't. And also, I mean, where do we put the blame on Luke Weaver coming into the game against the 8 and 9 hitters in the lineup and, walking a guy? I mean, that's you can't just assume that the guy's going to come out of the bullpen and stink. I mean, just because you take out a good pitch, he's supposed to pitch well in that spot.
He's supposed to do his job. That's
and
what
he
he's
didn't.
here for. And he didn't. He didn't get it done.
I mean, but that and it's like I guarantee you we're going to take probably 10,000 Yankee phone calls today, and I don't know how many of them are going to bring up the fact that Luke Weaver was bad and didn't do his job. It's going to be all about taking out Fried because did everybody believe? I know that you felt that way. Did everybody believe that Luke Weaver was going to cough that thing up? I mean, I just...
Eventually, Luke Weaver was most likely going to get into the game in the next inning. I mean, eventually, he was going to be in there. I just think that the way it happened and the way it unfolded, I wanted Max Fried at least to have another batter. If that another batter smacks the ball, and by the way, it was the bottom of the order, but if there's a hard hit ball, it's a double, and then take him out. I mean, there's nobody on the bases, so you would think that Luke Weaver, depending on who he was facing, which was the bottom of the order with nobody on base, that should be a money spot for him.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't do his job. He did not do his job. That's 100% on him. And I'm sure I didn't hear him after the game last night, but I'm sure he took ownership of it. I didn't get my job done. I wasn't able to get the guys, out when I was supposed. This is my job. This is what I guarantee you he said that somewhere. But again, it goes back to, the opposing manager left his pitcher in. The pitch, I think, 114 pitches. The Yankee manager took his pitcher out with one out, nobody on, at 102 pitches. That, to me, it's right there. Then, of course, you get to the ninth inning with the offense. Oh, and by the way, good thing Anthony Volpe's on this team. Thank God for him, because you wouldn't have a run without him.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't
That guy, by the way, that guy's money in the playoffs.
It's really unbelievable that, Volpe is the one guy who comes through after all the flack that he had. And then also in the ninth inning, with the bases loaded, you've got Giancarlo Stanton up, who's had an amazing regular season since he came back from injury and has been their best postseason player. You got Jazz Chisholm, who has had this amazing offensive season, but also there's some consternation there as well because Ahmed Rosario has good numbers against Aroldis Chapman, and he didn't get an opportunity. Chisholm did, but Chisholm's been very good offensively the entire year. And then also Trent Grisham, who has been a revelation for them. You get these guys up in that situation.
Well, two of the three are lefties against a very difficult left-handed pitcher.
Right, but these guys have come through all year long. And they
this
can't,
is the moment.
And this they can't in the ninth inning. And then here's the only guy who gets a run on the board is Anthony Volpe, who's been getting roasted like a pig on a spit for 4 months.
Oh, he was cheered yesterday.
Yeah, well, for sure. It's and the stat that I've heard probably too much already is ever since this wild card series has been implemented, the team who wins game one wins the series.
Well, you got to change it around.
12 out of 12.
You got an opportunity to do something that nobody's done before. That's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah,
it's an opportunity.
It doesn't really have an impact on this series, you wouldn't think. And the Yankees still have an advantage because they're playing at home. I think they have a pitching advantage tonight for sure. You just gotta. The offense has just got to come out and just hammer some guys, man. It's just like, when is that? I completely understand. You see some of the great starting pitching that happened yesterday across Major League Baseball with the Aces, but one run with this offense. When you have the history that you have in the postseason, when you can't score, it's like, is there ever going to be that time with them where that doesn't happen? In these situations with your season on the line in the playoffs, it's just that is such a just grind out some goddamn runs, will you? Really is where we're at. It's a 1-0 game, and it could have ended 1-0 potentially, but it didn't because you didn't score enough. So there's a lot of places to go, but it's a turn the page spot. Is what it is.
Yeah, but it's not going to be turning the page until probably 10 o'clock. Well, who knows? Probably 12 o'clock, I would think. Everybody will have their opinions. I don't know. I'm thinking that Max Fried wanted to stay in. I know he came out to a standing ovation, rightfully so. I think Aaron Boone had his foot up on the top step and was basically on his way out there as the inning started.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just, if you go by the analytics of it all, those two guys I don't think they have great numbers against Max Fried, and Max Fried was able to kind of, get through what he got through like most aces do. And you're right. It's the whole thing is predetermined before the game even starts.
Yeah, because every scenario they go through, every single one. And this one, and we talk about Aaron Boone having a feel. His feel might have been that Max Fried was, in his mind and what he saw, and he knows the guy, that he was losing it at that point. Maybe that was his feel.
Well,
I don't know.
He could have been sitting there talking to his coaches and saying, all right, we got it. We got a lot out of him. He gave us exactly what we needed. Now all we have to do is get 8 outs?
Yeah.
Just 8 outs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need.
Exactly. That's all we need. And I understand the bullpen has been feast or famine for the Yankees, but Weaver coming in and being that bad, and then just walking a guy to start off the whole thing. I mean, that's
the thing that's brutal.
I mean,
not walk the leadoff batter when but they got one out. I mean, but your first batter, you can't put him on.
Yeah, I mean, so when you said like as soon as they took him out, you felt that way. I didn't feel that way when they took him out initially. I felt that way with the walk. With the walk, I'm like, okay, well now here we go. Because that's generally what happens. Is that guy comes around to score at some point. Now, it wasn't the leadoff walk because you said there's one out, but it was his first batter. And, of course, he came around to score, and so did other guys.
You could feel Yankee Nation out there. The after what's the word I'm looking for? The post what happened reaction you could feel. I mean, I could literally feel it.
Well,
and of course my phone's blown up, and everybody wants to know why Max Fried's taken out of the game because Luke Weaver didn't do his job.
Yeah,
that's and how many times have we been here before?
A million, and this is why it's frustrating. And if Max Fried gets those outs, then we're not talking about it, but he didn't. So I mean, and I really do believe though that this is not Aaron Boone is not doing this under his own volition. Like this, there is so much discussion that happens when you get to this number of pitches, that this guy, this part of the order, if he's down here, if this was happening and the order had turned over, they might have gone to a different pitcher with matchups and this and that. So it's just they thought the best plan was to do that, and it blew up in their face.
Well, this is what they make trades for. This is what they build the bullpen for. This is a guy that is asked to do a job that, unfortunately, last night, you could say 75 to 80% of the time he's going to do his job. Last night he didn't do his job.
All right, we are giving away Yankees Red Sox Game 2 tickets today. We will give you the hint in the 7 a.m. hour, the drop that Eddie will play that you'll have to listen for in the 8 a.m. hour for tickets. So the giveaway is in the 8 a.m. hour. The clue is in the 7 a.m. hour for tickets for tonight's Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.